Hi, it's Miss Lisa from the St. Paris Public Library. Today's preschool story time, so grab your shaky egg and we're going to get started. Here we go. Today I feel like shaking my egg. Hey, how about it? Today I feel like shaking my egg. Hey, how about it? Today I feel like shaking my egg. Hey, what do you say? Hey, what do you say? Alright, we're gonna jump. Today I feel like jumping. Hey, how about you? Today I feel like jumping. Jump up and down. See if we can jump really high. Hey, how about you? Today I feel like jumping. Hey, what do you say? Hey, what do you say? Okay. Shh. As quiet as a mouse. Up on your tiptoes. Tiptoe around. Here we go. Today I feel like tiptoeing. Hey, how about you? Today I feel like tiptoeing. Hey, how about you? Today I feel like tiptoeing. Hey, what do you say? Hey, what do you say? Alright, you ready? We're gonna wiggle all over. Today I feel like wiggling. Hey, how about you? Today I feel like wiggling. Hey, how about you? Today I feel like wiggling. Hey, what do you say? Hey, what do you say? Ready? Shake your egg up high. Shake your egg down below, way down by your feet. Shake it in the middle by your belly button. Shake it up high. Shake it down below, way down by your feet. Shake it in the middle by your belly button. Good job, good job. All right, put your egg down. This week's story time is all about Earth, the Earth Day, and recycling and what we can do, some things that we need to do to protect our Earth so that our Earth will stay healthy and it will be able to keep us healthy. So that's what our story time is about this week. It's about Earth Day and taking care of our Earth. But first, we're going to start with our alphabet. We're going to say our alphabet together. So you're going to say it with me, and we're going to clap our hands while we say the alphabet, just like this. Here we go. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Now I know my ABCs. Next time, won't you sing with me? Good job, good job. Give yourself a pat on the back. Wrap your arms around yourself and give you a big squeeze. Ooh, that's a hug from me to you. All right, listen, we're going to read our first story. Rosalind Rutabaga and the Biggest Hole on Earth. Rosalind Rutabaga woke up with a plan. Today she would dig the biggest hole on Earth. Not a tiny mouse hole, not a medium-sized rabbit hole, the biggest hole on Earth. Maybe she would dig right down to the other side of the world. Maybe she would find a pirate's treasure. Who knows? Anything could happen. Rosalind thump, 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 thumped downstairs to breakfast. What are you going to do today, Rosalind? Asked her father. Rosalind munched loudly on her carrot flakes. I am going to dig the biggest hole on Earth, she announced. Sounds like a good idea, said her father. I might dig all the way to China, she said, or even to the South Pole. I'd really like to meet a penguin. You'd better take a sweater, said her father. It gets pretty cold in the South Pole. Will you be back in time for lunch? Called her father. Of course, answered Rosalind, and she ran outside. Rosalind looked around for the perfect spot to dig the biggest hole on Earth. Not too rocky, not too near the oak tree, definitely not in her father's prize-winning carrot bed. Aha, thought Rosalind, right here in the middle of the lawn. So she went around, definitely not here in the carrot bed in the carrot garden. Too rocky, not too near the oak tree. And she's going to dig right here, and X marks the spot. She started to dig. Whoa there, yelled a worm. What in the world do you think you're doing? I'm digging the biggest hole on earth, sir, answered Rosalind. This is my front yard, shouted the worm. You can't dig your big old hole here, you silly rabbit. Rosalind blushed. Oh, I'm sorry, sir, she said. I'll dig somewhere else. The worm muttered angrily as he wiggled back down into the earth. Rosalind Rutabaga carefully filled up the hole. So she couldn't dig there because it was the worm's house. She started digging in another spot near the fence. She dug and dug. Then a mole appeared. Where's he at? Where's that mole at? Oh, there he is, right there. What are you doing in my bedroom? He grumbled. I'm digging the biggest hole on earth, she said. What on earth for? Asked the mole. I want to go to the South Pole, said Rosalind, to meet a penguin or two. Listen, said the mole, I dig holes all the time, small ones, big ones. I'm a hole specialist, and I can tell you there are no penguins down there. That's because you haven't dug the biggest hole on earth, thought Rosalind. You woke me up, added the mole. Now I'm in a bad mood. I'm dreadfully sorry, said Rosalind. I'll dig somewhere else. Penguins, muttered the mole. What next? Elephants? He burrowed back into his sandy bed. In a moment, he was snoring. Rosalind sighed. This was not going to be easy. Rosalind Rutabaga decided to dig a hole near the lilac bush. She looked around. No one in sight. She stamped the ground. No angry worm, no grouchy mole. She dug and dug and dug, and all you could see were the tips of Rosalind's ears. See them right there, just the little tips of her ears? That's a pretty big hole. This will be the biggest, most beautiful hole in the world, thought Rosalind. People will line up to admire it. She dug faster. Maybe I'll find gold, she thought, or maybe I'll find a dinosaur bone. Rosalind cried. She examined the bone. Rosalind was very excited. She would be famous. I'm sure this is a triceratops big toe bone, she said. Look. She found a bone. She thinks it's a dinosaur bone. It is not, barked the dog. I buried that bone last week. I got it at the butcher's, and I know he doesn't sell dinosaur bones. Rosalind threw the bone up to the dog. Thanks, barked the dog. And dig somewhere else. You're wrecking my bone cupboard. Look at all those bones she dug up from the dog's bone cupboard. Rosalind lay in the bottom of the hole. She sighed heavily. She would never dig the biggest hole on earth. Ever. I think she's giving up. My, said Rosalind's father, this must be the biggest hole in the universe, Rosalind. Are you down there? Yes, whispered Rosalind. I can hardly see you, said her father. You must be hungry. Shall we eat lunch? Okay, answered Rosalind, but bring your sweater. It's really cold at the South Pole. Do you think penguins like carrot sandwiches? Asked Rosalind. I don't know, answered her father. As soon as we see one, we'll ask. Rosalind smiled. She couldn't wait to meet a penguin. You think she's going to meet a penguin in that hole? I don't think so. She didn't dig that far. Rosalind Rutabaga and the biggest hole on earth. All right, we're going to do a little finger play called Dig a Hole. Here we go. You ready? Dig a hole in the ground and plant a seed. Put your seed in there. Boink. Dig a hole in the ground and plant a seed. Boink. Dig a little bitty hole for a teeny tiny seed. Dig a hole in the ground and plant a seed. Boink. Put some soil on the top. So put your soil on top. Pat it down. Boom. Boom. Put some soil on the top, pat it down, boom, boom. Put some gritty, grimy soil on top the teeny tiny seed. Put some soil on the top and pat it down. Boom, boom. Add some water and some light. Put your sun out. See it grow. Here comes the seed. Add some water. Add some water and some light and see it grow. The teeny tiny seed will grow really strong and big. Add some water and some light and see it grow. Good job. All right, let's read a story. Compost stew, an A to Z recipe for the earth. Environmental chefs, here's a recipe for you to fix from scratch to mix a batch of compost stew. Ingredients: apple cores, bananas bruised, coffee grounds with filters used. D, dirt clods crumbled. E, eggshells crushed. F, fruit pulp left behind all mushed. It's like they're following a recipe with yucky stuff. G is grass clippings. H is hair snippings. And I, an insect or two. Oh, look, that goose, he's eating a bug. Just add to the pot and let it all rot into a compost stew. So they put all of like their old leftover food scraps that are vegetables, not meat, but just vegetable scraps and insects and all kinds of things. Save jack-o'-lanterns. K is a kitchen scraps. L is laundry lint from dryer traps. We always put those out for the birds. M, mulch removed from garden beds. N is nutshells. O is oatmeal. P for paper shreds. Q, quarry dust. R, rye bread crust. S, and seaweed strands, a few. We don't have seaweed where I live. You have to live in it by the ocean for that. Just add to the pot and let it all rot into compost stew. Take tea bags plucked from long hot swimmings. U is underbrush prunings. V is vegetable trimmings. W, wiggly worms with compost cravings. X is Christmas tree needles. And Y is yellow pine shavings. And Z is zinnia heads. Those are flowers, zinnias, from flower beds whose blooming days are through. Just add to the pot and let it all rot into compost stew. Moisten, toss lightly, cover, let brew. And when the cooking is complete, Mother Earth will have a treat, dark and crumbly, rich and sweet. Now open the pot, and what have you got? Compost stew, and it's probably stinky too. But, chef's note, out of pumpkins, low on flies, get creative, improvise. You can always substitute any veggie, plant, or fruit, but please recycle these instead. They won't break down, so not a shred of metal, plastic, packing foam, or chemicals found in the home. What's more, no meat or dairy, please. No bones or gravy, fish or cheese, for these will cause an awful smell, attracting animals as well. Earthy? Yes. Meaty? No. Synthetic? Stop. Natural? Go. So spice it up, but be judicious. Keep it wholesome and nutritious. Mother Earth will say delicious. Compost stew. So when you make compost stew, you're making new dirt, and you're making healthy dirt by using vegetable scraps and things like that. Just remember, no dairy and no meat in your compost stew, and then you can put that compost in your garden. Compost stew, an A to Z recipe for the earth. All right, I have a new song for us today to do, and it's called Machines in Motion. So you need to do the motions the way that the machines or the way the singer is telling you to. So you need to listen and follow directions, okay? Some of them are kind of fast, so you have to listen. Hear the machines moving? Here we go, you ready?
Chug, chug,
Chug, chug,
cling,
cling, clang,
swish, swash,
swish, swash,
bing, bang,
bing, bang,
toot,
toot, toot,
drip, drop,
drip, drop,
zigzag,
zigzag,
flip, flop,
flip, flop, flip, flop,
down,
all around.
You can see and hear the sights and sounds. Machines in motion.
Machines in motion.
Machines in motion.
Machines in motion.
Washing machine.
Washing machine.
Go swish, swash, swish.
Twist your body
swash,
like a washing
swish,
machine.
Swash, swish, wash. All over town. Bulldozers go push.
Push,
Pull.
pull,
Push, pull, push, pull, push, pull. All over town. Elevators go up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. All over town. Big wheels go round,
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 go around.
round, 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 round. All over town. Chug, chug,
Chug, chug,
cling, clang,
cling, clang,
swish, swash,
swish, swash,
bing, bang,
bing, bang,
toot,
toot, toot,
drip,
drip,
drop,
drop,
zigzag,
zigzag,
flip, flop,
flip, flop,
up,
down,
all
all around.
You can see and hear the sights and sounds. Machines in motion.
Machines in motion.
Machines in motion.
Machines in motion.
Railroad trains go click,
Clack,
click.
you're a train.
Click, clack, click, clack, all over town.
Woo!
Scissors go open, shut, open, shut, open, shut, open, shut, all over town. Helicopters go whoosh, 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 whoosh,
All over town.
Sprinklers go
All over town.
machines in motion.
Machines in motion.
Machines in motion.
Machines in motion. All right, let's read a story. Why should I recycle? In my family, we recycle our garbage. We return things so they can be used again. We don't always recycle. We didn't always recycle. We used to throw everything away. On our way to school, we always passed Mr. Jones's house. Mr. Jones is our teacher. One day we saw him putting a special box with cans, bottles, and papers by the gate. What are you doing? This box is just for recycling. All these things are taken away and used again, said Mr. Jones. What's recycling? I'll explain at school. So he's going to explain to her what recycling is. In class, Mr. Jones asked us what we did with our trash. We put it in the garbage can. It's just old garbage. Mr. Jones says garbage contains lots of useful things that can be recycled and used again. Why should I recycle? Mr. Jones took the class to a recycling center. It had separate containers for bottles, cans, plastic, clothes, and paper. What do you think happens to all the glass that goes in here? Asked Mr. Jones. It all gets broken down to make new shiny bottles. And guess what happens to all the cans that go in here? Asked Mr. Jones. They get melted down to make new metal things such as bikes and scooters. Wow! And what about the paper and plastics that goes in here and here? Mr. Jones asked. The paper gets shredded and used to make new books and comics. All these things came from garbage we just throw away? This plastic can be used to make all kinds of things, including clothes. You might be wearing some, said Mr. Jones. So why waste waste? Most of the garbage we put in the trash can gets buried in dumps that spoil the countryside. It's good to recycle as much as you can, said Mr. Jones. So what else can we recycle? Look, she's plugging her nose because the garbage dump smells. Clothes, books, and toys that you don't want can all be taken to the secondhand store, explained Mr. Jones. The food we buy at supermarkets comes in packages that can often be used again. Don't waste waste, Mom. I told Mom and Dad about our trip to the recycling center. Now we buy recycled things at the stores. Recycled paper helps save trees. We always recycle the plastic bags, too. We brought our own bags, thanks. We also recycle everything at home. Fruit and vegetable peelings get recycled on our new compost heap. The compost helps my mom's prized vegetables to grow. So they have a compost too, and they put their vegetable scraps in there. Now we recycle so much garbage, there's hardly any left to put in the can. Recycling is kind to nature. It saves money and it's fun. So, do you recycle at your house? Maybe if you don't recycle, you can start recycling and just start with one thing at a time. Why should I recycle? All right, let's do a finger play today. We haven't done one for a while. Sometimes I do them and sometimes I do them with puppets and stuff. But today we're going to do our hands. And we're going to do one called the bright sun. So take your hands and make a circle with your hands. Put your thumbs together and your fingers and make a circle. And you're going to put your sun up here. And you're going to tilt it forward so the sun is shining down. Here we go. You ready? Bright sun shining down, shining on the ground. And put your hands down this way. What a lovely face you have. Yellow, big, and round. Here we go. Put your round sun up, tilting down. Bright sun shining down, shining on the ground. Put your hands this way. What a lovely face you have. Yellow, big, and round. Good job. All right, let's read our last story. I hope you had fun at story time today. Listen, put one hand way up high. Wave goodbye, it's time to go. Wave up high and wave down low. Wave real fast, wave real slow. Wave goodbye, it's time to go. Wave up high, wave down low. Wave goodbye, I'll miss you so. Love you. Be good listeners. Remember, wash your hands. Top and bottom, top and bottom. In between, rub them close together. Rub them close together. Almost clean, almost clean. Other hand, top and bottom, top and bottom. In between, rub them close together. Rub them close together. Now they're clean, now they're clean. See you later. Bye.